A teenage girl returns home from a sleepover. She opens the door to cabin 28. What she finds inside will haunt a nation for over 40 years. April 12, 1981, Keddie, California. A tiny resort town tucked into the Sierra Nevada mountains. Population, barely 200. The kind of place where neighbors know your name, where doors stay unlocked, where nothing bad ever happens, until it does. 14-year-old Sheila Sharp had spent the night next door at a friend's house. She was coming home to change clothes for church. It was 7:45 in the morning. She turned the doorknob, pushed open the door. An overwhelming odor hit her first, metallic, unmistakable. Then she saw them. Her mother, her brother John, his friend Dana, all bound with medical tape and electrical wire, all brutally murdered. Blood covered the living room floor. But that wasn't the worst of it. Sheila's 12-year-old sister Tina was gone, vanished. And in the bedroom next door, 3 young boys sleeping soundly. Her brothers Ricky and Greg, their friend Justin, completely unharmed. They'd heard nothing, seen nothing. How was that possible? The victims told a story of absolute terror. Glenna Sue Sharp, 36 years old, a single mother trying to make a fresh start after leaving an abusive marriage in Connecticut. She'd moved her 5 children across the country, looking for peace, for safety. She found neither. Her son John, just 15, a teenager with his whole life ahead of him, and Dana Wingate, 17. Wrong place, wrong time. He'd simply come over to hang out that Saturday night. The killer used a hammer, knives, electrical cord. The brutality was staggering. But this was personal. Investigators found no signs of robbery, no sexual assault. Someone wanted Sue Sharp dead, and they were willing to kill anyone in their way. Except those 3 boys in the bedroom. Why were they spared? The question gnawed at investigators. 2 cabins down lived Martin Smart. He'd argued with Sue recently, publicly, loudly. His wife Marilyn had been confiding in Sue about Martin's abuse. Sue had encouraged her to leave. Martin was furious. Living with Martin, a man named John Bo Bubaid, an ex-convict with ties to organized crime in Chicago. He'd arrived in Keddie just 10 days before the murders. Witnesses reported seeing the 2 men near cabin 28 that night. But investigators never pressed them, never followed up. Then came the letter. Weeks after the murders, Martin wrote to his wife, "I've paid the price of your love, and now I've bought it with 4 people's lives." 4 people's lives. But investigators dismissed it. Martin later told a counselor about his involvement in the murders. The counselor reported it to authorities. They called it hearsay. Bo Bubaid died in 1988. Martin Smart in 2000. Neither man was ever charged. For 3 years, the fate of Tina Sharp remained unknown. The FBI investigated her disappearance as a kidnapping, but they found nothing. Then, on April 11, 1984, exactly 3 years after the murders, a bottle collector was walking through the woods near Feather Falls, 30 miles from Keddie. He found a skull, partial, weathered. Authorities confirmed it was Tina. But how did they know to look there? An anonymous caller had phoned the Butte County Sheriff's Department. He asked if they'd considered connecting these remains to the murder in Keddie, where a young girl was never found. He was chillingly accurate about the location. The call was recorded. but both the original recording and the backup copy mysteriously vanished from evidence. Who made that call? How did he know exactly where Tina's body was? The answer died with the evidence. The investigation was compromised from day one. Sheriff Doug Thomas, who had lived in Cabin 28 before the Sharps moved in, resigned 3 months into the investigation. He took a job with the Sacramento Department of Justice, the same agency now investigating the case he'd abandoned. Critical evidence went missing. Crime scene photos, autopsy reports, that anonymous phone call. A hammer matching the description of Martin Smart's hammer was found in a pond in 2016. 35 years too late. Interviews were botched. Suspects were never re-questioned. Former investigators would later acknowledge the investigation's serious failures. In 2016, authorities reopened the case. New DNA technology, fresh eyes. They announced they were closer than ever to solving it. But no arrests have been made. The cabin itself was demolished in 2004, as if erasing the building could erase the horror. It didn't. Sheila Sharp found her family slaughtered when she was just 14 years old. She spent over 40 years trying to understand why. Why her mother? Why her siblings? Why that night? The answers are out there, locked in the memories of witnesses too afraid to speak, hidden in evidence that was buried, destroyed, ignored. Martin Smart essentially confessed, multiple times. Bo Bobade had motive, opportunity, a history of violence. They lived 2 cabins away. Yet justice never came. In a small town where everyone knows everyone's business, how did a quadruple homicide go unsolved? Was it incompetence or something darker? The Keddie Cabin murders remain one of America's most haunting cold cases, not because of what we don't know, but because of what we do. Someone knows what happened in Cabin 28 that night in 1981, and they've kept silent for more than 4 decades. The question is, how much longer can they stay quiet?